Alright, I'm gonna do a series on my honest opinion of every Myers-Briggs type. I started this video thinking that I was gonna make a video with just talking about all of the types, and then I realized I don't have that much time. I started talking and I restarted the video because I was like, don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm first gonna start with ENFJ, my honest opinion of ENFJs. And just because I thought it'd be the easiest, I am an ENFJ. Just a disclaimer is that I really don't like stereotyping at all. I'm really going to be talking about my experience with these types and the way that I personally tend to interact with each of these types. So everyone's different, and there are awesome people in every personality type, and there are really shitty people in every personality type. So don't judge a book by its cover or by its cognitive functions. So, alright, ENFJ, to be completely honest, I haven't ever had like a really good, loyal, long-lasting ENFJ friend. I've had a lot of them through the years, but what tends to happen, I think, is that we seem to get each other right off the bat, which means that we don't necessarily try to get to know each other, and we might not be super curious about each other because we might just assume that, oh, I get what you're about. And so, but I've always been on great terms with like every ENFJ that I've known. A lot of them I've known through comedy or through choir or through speech and debate, theater, like all of my artsy stuff that I've done. They're just kind of everywhere. There's the archetype of like the annoying, full of themselves ENFJ that like thinks that they're gonna get the lead and is like kind of like Rachel Berry from Glee, that's kind of like thinks the world revolves around them. I know people like that I like couldn't stand. Then I know there's a lot of things that happens with ENFJs. I know is that we'll meet each other and we'll be like, oh my gosh, we've got to hang out sometime. Yeah, totally. And then like we don't end up hanging out because one of us forgets or whatever. I think that ENFJs, we really want to help people get out of their shells and help people become the best versions of themselves. And so we would much rather be attracted to people that, I hate to say it like this, but we might view as sort of a project. Whether or not we're trying to fix them or not, it's still like a project. Oh, getting them to open up. Like, I know like some not as healthy ENFJs might view people as projects that they want to fix. That's a real thing. That sucks. Like, I'm not apologizing for that. But I think that we enjoy getting people to open up and get out of their shells, and we almost feel really special whenever someone only shows their real selves with us. It's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. But yeah, I especially had a lot of ENFJ friends whenever I was in speech and, or that too, but in improv and sketch comedy in college. There were a ton of ENFJs, and it really just reminded me how unique I was and how unique everyone is whenever you're in a room full of 10 ENFJs and I might still feel alone and they might still feel alone, you know? There are I know a lot of male ENFJs I know are pretty subdued because they really don't want to be like in your face or anything like that. Cause when they recognize FE, they understand the social norms and they don't want to necessarily be super out there. Male ENFJs and NFJs in general tend to not want to share their true selves and just will seem pleasant to you and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of it is because they have a lot of emotions, but society isn't necessarily set up in a easy way for men to deal with their emotions, and so I feel for them. It seems like the girls are more openly expressive and more open about crying a lot. If I know that someone's an ENFJ because when we become friends on Facebook, they'll start to like everything I do, and I'll like everything that they do, and that's when we know that we're cool with each other. Like, even if we don't hang out, we'll always be liking each other's shit and stuff like that. I really wish that I do have I'd say 3 ENFJ friends that I've recently met that I've been trying to get close with, and I'm trying to crack them. It's hard to crack an ENFJ. Even though they're really friendly and everything, they're still hard to crack, because it's going to take a bit for them to show you they're always authentic and honest. At least I am. I can't speak for everyone. Not everyone is authentic and honest. But they are always expressive, but it's going to take a bit for them to tell you what they really feel or what they really think. For example, everyone at work, I'm super good friends with them and stuff, but I'm not going to tell them oh my gosh, I cried this morning because I feel like I'm going to be alone forever or some shit like that. Be oh, I just had a moment of tears. Whatever. Us ENFJs, we really keep that in. Okay, it's getting sweaty in here, so it's gross. But ENFJs will really just sort of hide that aspect, our vulnerability side. We always talk about how vulnerability is a strength, and we want to show that to people when we first meet them. But the things that we are vulnerable about are different than the things that other people are vulnerable about. So we won't want to be oh yeah, I just cried, or oh my gosh, I'm sad because I don't get along with my parents that well, and that's tough. We won't really, there are some things we won't touch, but the one thing that we really won't show when we first meet you is what we really think. For example, I work as a journalist. There are some people that I think are always blowing smoke, and you never should take what they say seriously. For example, when I meet someone and they say, oh, you know this person, that's great, and I'll be yeah, that's awesome, yeah, I know them, whatever. But until I know that you're my friend, I'll be oh my god, that person's such a fucking liar. And this could make ENFJs seem two-faced, probably. But yeah, it takes me a bit to tell you what I really think, about people. Be oh yeah, this person is not really the real deal. They kind of lie a bit. Or I'll be oh, this corporation is really pulling this agenda, and they say that they're community first, but they're really not. I won't really share those things unless I really trust you, and I think that other ENFJs are like that too, and it takes a bit. You have to share an experience together, or you have to somehow prove I'm there for you, and I think that you have to show your vulnerability to them, or else they won't trust you. So yes, my impression of ENFJs, some of them are some ENFJs I know, and I'm probably guilty of this too, but some of them I feel their posts on Facebook, I can tell that they just want attention really bad, and nobody seems to notice. And so sometimes whenever I'm in a bad mood, I'll use that as fuel, hey, so many other people post whenever they want attention, so it's not so bad that I do it every once in a while or something. But yeah, I could say that some ENFJs seem like they just really want attention, and the types of ENFJs that aren't honest with themselves, I really just don't like, because I could just read through them. But the majority of the fact, I really empathize with them, obviously, because we're similar. They all seem to have a heart of gold, but not all of them are the real deal. Not all of them actually practice what they preach, and so whenever I want to know if I want to be good friends with an ENFJ or not, I'm definitely going to look to see, do they have drive? Do they practice what they preach? Are they just looking for attention? Do they actually know themselves? Or are they just trying to do whatever they think I like? Because a lot of them can act like chameleons when you first meet them, and so you might not know what their real goals are or who they really are. But too long didn't read. End of story. I have the most empathy for them out of any other type, simply because I am an ENFJ and I understand what they're going through, and I understand the pressure that they put on themselves. But I would say out of every other type I've met and I know the most variety of ENFJs. I know some that are subdued and aren't expressive. I know some that are annoying and as hell. I know some that are needy. I know some that are conceited. I know some that are manipulative. I know some that are like in denial about who they are. And I know some that are some of the most empowering boss ladies, like strong people. I know some really awesome people. My dad's an ENFJ, and he's like one of my biggest role models. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'm excited to do this as a series, so stay tuned for more.